best money you could possibly spend. What are you waiting for? You know, you get an amazing journal 4 times a year, all sorts of discounts when you come to the fair and sign up for the table as well, we know. So, best money you could possibly spend. What are you waiting for? You know, you get an amazing journal 4 times a year, all sorts of discounts when you come to the fair and sign up for the table as well, we know. That's a recording. So,
I have a question.
go ahead.
Basically, when you pay for your membership online,
Yes, Erwin.
there's no acknowledgments. So you never know if anything has happened or not. I assume it goes through, but there should be something that comes back and says you've just paid for your membership.
Good point, Erwin.
Either
Let me make a note of that. I'll put an asterisk. Erwin, re-membership sign up acknowledgement.
right.
I'll follow that up with our treasurer and our membership person. She's away. She's been away a lot of the summer, so maybe that's part of it. But I'll find out from Lily and John about this. Thank you for bringing that up,
Okay.
Lily, John, M. Marvelous. Okay, good. So I said there's stuff coming up left, right, and center. My goodness. This is all on our website and in the email newsletter. But I'll tell those attending today. Hold on a second. What was that in chat, Yuki? It's not coming up. Why is it not coming up?
Oh, Yuki had a dental procedure.
Okay, forgive. That's why you're okay. Usually you're very okay. And Cindy, I've got you down for presenting something. So coming up this Saturday, September the 20th, London, Ontario, the London Vintage Film Camera Show. If you're anywhere in the area, come. It's a great show. A number of us will be there. The enthusiasm in that room is it's one of those shows where the organizer has to get up on a chair towards the end of the meeting, towards the end of the show, and invite people to leave because they'd stay there all night if there were hot dogs. So it's a good show. You'll rub elbows with a lot of interesting people. The other Toronto show, the rival Toronto show, Gary Perry's Camerama, September the 28th, coming up a week from this Sunday. Of course, the Detroit event, big deal, big deal. Of course, their show in Detroit, just across the border. But the Michigan Photo Historical Society have had a load of cameras donated, and there will be an auction at the end of the show. Well, actually, mid-afternoon-ish. 12 events. Big deal, big deal. Why is that recording kicking back?
This is from the live cast on YouTube.
Oh, okay. I'll just ignore it then. Fine.
Yeah.
As long as you know what's going on. Now, if you want, I'll on the website. I think there's a list of some photographs. It's October the 5th. Worth. There's going to be some great stuff there. At last count, 4 or 5 Leicas, a bunch of stereo stuff, cameras, mainly US stuff, but still very, very good material. Anyway, our show, October the 19th, the Sunday after Canadian Thanksgiving. Don't miss it. Mark Singer here somewhere, is already being
right there.
Right there. Yes. Mark is already being inundated with people signing up, and which is a good thing. And if you're a member, you get a discount on your table. That's one of the many benefits of membership. Hanging out with us is kind of the bonus. So that's at the our usual location, Trident Hall, at Evans and Islington, south of the Gardner Expressway. Be there 12 to 4:30ish. Great show. Lots of vendors, lots of trading going on, lots of buying and selling going on. If you need it, it'll be there. Film, cameras, a little bit, some digital rangefinder, DSLRs, you name it, large format, medium format, small format, sub-miniature format. Next, our auction, November the 9th. Shortly, we'll start teasing you with information about what's there. We can already tell you that a large component of it will be, number one, we're helping to clear out the photo-related stuff at Sherman Hines Museum in Liverpool, Nova Scotia. Bunch of stuff, like a bunch of Hasselblads, RB. I think there's some Pentax 6.7. I may be mistaken. Just all sorts of stuff. Just all sorts of photographic equipment. Good, clean lots. In addition, an estate in north of Aberfoyle, large format camera, to them, bunch of lenses, good stuff, amazing provenance, stuff that belonged to, I guess, what she was recognized as the first female photographer in Margaret in Saskatchewan, stuff from her estate. And also a gentleman who's downsizing, boxes and boxes and boxes of good material, really, really good material. So watch for that on the website. We'll start throwing images up as soon as we've sorted and photographed it all. That's the auction, November the 9th, Sunday, November the 9th, down at the Legion Hall at Browns Line and Lakeshore Boulevard West in Etobicoke. Don't go to Mississauga because you'll be too far away. Toronto Postcard Show, our friends at the Toronto Postcard Club, February 22nd, up at the Japanese Canadian Cultural Center, as is the rival show, Gary Perry's Camerama. Followed, the postcard show on the 22nd, and on March the 1st is the camera show up there. This is all sounding complicated. Just check the damn website. It's all there in a fashion considerably more organized than what I'm presenting here. March the 8th, DC Camera Show in Washington, D.C. And then something we're kind of excited about. Lindsay, this is kind of for your benefit. I'm not doing it just because you're here. April 23rd to April 26th here in Toronto at Black Creek Pioneer Village. The Magic Lantern Society of Canada in the US is having their convention here on this side of the border. Woohoo, woohoo. It will help out where we can. I will help out where I can. I think it's got the makings for a really good event. Just some of the basic stuff that I've heard that will be presented, lecture style, is just out of this world. Yes, there's a historical aspect to all of this, but people are making modern lantern slides, and that's a fascinating story. Right, Lindsay?
Yep.
Good man. So that gets us into the end of April. And of course, towards the end of April, we're changing it up a little. Just remember May 24. May 24 is our spring fair, the PHSC spring fair. We moved it up a week. It's not the last Sunday in May. It's the second last Sunday in May. That gives a little bit of breathing room of 2 weeks before Gary's show, Gary's Camerama, once again at the Japanese Cultural Center on June the 8th. Okay, if you've recorded all that, I'm glad, because there's going to be a test at the end of the evening, right? and the prize is going to be, I don't know, a swift kick in the pants or something like that. Anyway.
Right. Well, Clint, thank you very much for all of that. There's an exciting calendar of events coming up. Okay.
Yep.
All right, guys, just bring loads of money to each one of them.
Yeah. I forgot that part. Just bring it back.
Okay. Remember, you got 2 kidneys, you got 2 lungs, you got 2 eyes. You can sell one of those. All right, and shore up a little allowance there. Great. All right. Well, today's program is special. As I mentioned earlier, we are trying a slightly different technical setup. Whereas before we were using Eventbrite to plan and promote the event, we did get a lot of feedback that it was a little bit convoluted, that it was confusing to several people. And so we're trying something else. And this is one of the reasons why you heard about the meeting only today, and you got the direct link to Zoom only today. One of the reasons why it is because that way helps us a little bit with the security aspect, right? Also, we have a direct access to you guys through our MailChimp account. So members and friends of the society are the first to see about it. So that aspect is a little bit experimental. We're not set a new procedure in stone just yet. We are testing stuff out and seeing how it goes. Okay. We are not recording the event on Zoom, but rather we're simulcasting, we're live streaming this event right now to our YouTube channel, which is accessible from anywhere in the world where you can get YouTube, right? So maybe not your grandma's house, but anywhere else is okay. Okay. And there was something important that I was going to say that I seem to have forgotten. I will be showing you the site in just a moment. In fact, let me share my screen briefly so that you can see what I mean by this live cast. So a little while ago, you were hearing echoes, right? It was from the from the live casting running from my machine. And right now you can see my face, and you can see the little recording with a little bit of lag. And that's what people can see if they go to our YouTube channel right now. Okay. What else is going on in our YouTube channel? Well, I'm glad you asked, because we have been uploading a lot of our previous programs onto the channel. Okay, so recordings from previous meetings, from previous presentations have been uploaded there for your enjoyment. And there will be more uploaded periodically. Okay. All right. Once we get started, I do have a few requests. Okay. So when presenters come up, I want everybody to turn off their microphones except for the presenter. The reason for that is that if your mic is on, you're going to take the spotlight from the presenter. If your microphone picks up any sound, it'll switch the main screen from the presenter to the new microphone. So I ask you to please turn off your microphones. And I will also turn on something that is called focus mode. And we're going to test it. These two things we are testing. We're going to figure out whether or not they're ideal, whether they work well. But we're going to test that today, right? And with focus mode, it's going to shift all resources on the Zoom to the speaker. And we are going to see how that goes in a moment. Okay. Now, Clint has been working on a list of presenters for tonight. Okay. Right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to request that each one of the presenters becomes a co-host. And that way they can have on-screen privileges during focus mode. Otherwise, they'll be out. Okay. So can you give me some names?
Yes. So well done, by the way, on all this organization. Holy cats. I'm sitting there going, haha. Yeah, good. This is we're plowing ahead. Let's go with Mark and then Jerry. And
okay, give me a second. Okay. So I am asking each person. The system might ask you if you want to accept being co-host.
Let's do Mark, then Erwin.
Okay. Could you give me some full names? I see some names that are repeated.
Mark Singer.
Okay.
Erwin Reichstein. I'm saying that right, more or
okay.
less. Jerry DeLaco.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put in Cindy.
Jeff Ward. Oh, okay. Yes, Cindy.
Cindy Motzenbecker 4. Jeff Ward 5. Lindsay Lambert 6. And then the last one I technically got here is me 7. Clint's a whole bunch of letters.
All right, and you're already co-host. So you should now, when I turn on the focus mode, you should be able to come on when it's your turn to present. But yes, please, I'm going to ask everybody who's a co-host who is not presenting right away to turn off their microphone. We will have a Q&A Okay, at the end.
Do we want to do the Q&A after each presenter or at the end? What do you think, bud?
Okay, so I have to change
Logistically.
settings again after each presenter and reset again. So I would like to try take notes.
Okay.
Okay, and we'll do it at the end this time. Again, it's just easier. Otherwise, I have to reset everything after each speaker so that everybody can turn on their microphone and everybody can show their face
Right,
on video, and then turn it off again
Yeah.
afterwards for the next presenter.
And
Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah. By the time we do this again, I suspect they'll figure it out.
So a lot of this stuff, it's just stuff that we have to kind of get our we don't know how well it'll work until we do it.
Gotcha.
So I want to thank you for your patience, for
Mhm.
bearing with us with this. We're trying to find a better way of bringing your program for you to participate in it and to enjoy yourselves in it. All right.
Mhm.
Sound good?
Good stuff. That's great.
Okay, so I'm going to turn on the focus mode. And we go.
Just like while you're doing that, just like to welcome a couple more people, Stan and Margaret. Hello, Margaret, and hello, Pepper. It's been a while, bud. Wow. Hope to see you in DC in March.
Okay, so we have turned on focus mode. Okay, I'd like to invite at this time our very first presenter to our Welcome Back Zoom and Tell 2025, our first program of the 2025 to 2026 season, right? A little bit different, but just as exciting, just as juicy, just as loaded with amazing stuff to talk about. And I am sure she will have a million questions. We ask that you hold them until everybody's gone up. This time, we'll probably do it differently next time, just to keep the meeting flowing. Okay. All right. I would like to call the first, our first presenter. Clint, who is our first presenter in the list again?
Me, Mark Singer.
Mark, there you go. All right, go ahead.
Okay. This is the camera I have. I collect some miniature cameras, and I hadn't seen this information on this one yet. So it's called a Tynar camera. I'll read something information on it. The Tynar is a camera for 16 mil film in metal cartridges. It was offered starting in 1949 by the Philip Kellogg Company in Chicago and by the Tynar Corporation, which had plants in Chicago, Cincinnati, Los Angeles, and New London, and may be the maker of the camera. It was advertised delivering cheap prints, $1 US for 14 2.5 by 3-inch prints from one film, including development, which altogether made it one in the four Tynar laboratories. The cassettes were marked property of Tynar Corporation. Maybe the cassettes were refilled in the plants with the Tynar panchromatic film. Let me see. Tynar cassette was very small since the image frame was on the outer side of the film transport. All better known 16 mil cassettes systems use larger cassettes with the image frame on the opposite side of the film transport channel. The camera has a collapsible 2-frame viewfinder at the top there. Oops. A film advance there. And what else? Oh, with an exposure counter. Very hard to see right now. It's right in the corner right there. Sorry. And an anchromatic anastigmat lens with a single shutter speed and choice between apertures f6.3, f11, and 16. One thing I got today was I found the manual for it because I didn't know how to load the film. So the film loads on the other side, and you pull out this little thing here, and the film loads in this little bay here. And there are special design films for it. It's very heavy, actually. It weighs about a pound because I think it's cast aluminum or something. I'm not sure. But it's an interesting little camera. I didn't know much about it. I don't know where I got it from, but it was an interesting addition to my sub-miniature camera collection. That's about all I know about it. So,
Thank you very much, Mark.
okay.
I'm sure I've written down a few questions, so stay tuned. I'll throw them at you along with others who may also have questions for you.
My picture didn't get any bigger though.
What do you mean?
I thought when I was focus mode, I thought it would be like,
You still
Yes,
have
you're
to-
bigger on our end
yeah,
and on the
you have
live.
to- you have
okay,
to,
because
you have
Your
to
full
click
screen.
in-
Your full screen on the live.
but I couldn't see it. So
Okay,
Okay.
if you click in Zoom, if you go to the top right corner and you
Yeah.
go to
yeah,
view,
I know.
and
Yeah.
you click on speaker mode or multi-speaker mode.
Okay.
Speaker mode is this big and multi-speaker is this big and this
Okay.
big. So it's a good idea.
Sorry.
Good, good, good. Thank you, Mark. Next
Yeah,
up,
and-
number.
Oh, just one more thing. I got the
Jimmy.
manual from M. Butkus, New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
This
good
has
resource.
online cameras.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, Mark. Let's swing over to Erwin. Dr. Reichstein, what have you got in the world of stereo views for us?
I've got 3 stereos, but I'm not sure I can bring them up on my screen. Can you
Mhm.
bring them up on your screen?
Celio?
So the first one, just a second, I'm opening up Photoshop. There it is. Okay, can you see my screen?
Not yet.
No, you're not sharing just yet. Give me a second.
You will be shortly.
Just a sec. You'll get permission to share in just a moment. You should have permission to share now.
Okay, where do I do that?
Under the green button that says share at the bottom of your screen,
Okay.
click on
Empty.
share and then select your screen.
Hold on, just a second. Now I don't have you guys.
That's okay.
Uh,
Scroll down and pick the one that's your Photoshop.
yeah, I hear you, but I don't. For some reason, let's see. I see my screen, but okay. Where's the share button?
At the bottom.
At
it's
the
green.
bottom?
Yeah. Yeah. Click on that.
Oh, share. Okay,
Go for that.
good. And
You see a bunch of your own screens.
share.
Something's happening.
Do you see a
Something's
pig?
happening. There
Yep.
we go.
Okay.
Now, do you see the stereo?
We see the 3, but if you click on one of them one at a time, they'll each open up. I
Okay,
hope.
I did click on one. Let me do it again.
Okay. So
Should I open it? Okay, it's now showing me on my full screen. It says you
Okay.
are screen sharing. Do
go
you
back.
see?
Go back
Yeah.
to the screen before, and then click on that in your share screen mode.
Click on.
The first stereo view.
That's what I just did.
You got to
And
go
it-
back. You got to close, and then you got to reopen.
Okay. Let me see something.
So go end share screen.
Okay. It says I'm screen sharing. Do you see the
Mhm.
thing?
We see the thing, but it's awfully small. And
So
Okay.
I think Erwin might be sharing that specific window and not the maximized photograph.
so you've got to close that
Have
window.
to stop share. Stop share.
That's right.
Okay, close it all.
No, just a share. Just a share. Stop sharing.
Okay, stop share.
And now share again. And this time,
Okay, share again.
pick the window that has the stereo view only.
Okay, do you see it?
Bingo.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, that's the first one.
My in-laws.
Okay, so this is not this past summer, but a few summers ago or couple of years ago now. that there were three stereos by James Inglis, three stereos by James Inglis, and I thought that all with pigs, and I thought that I would have to fight to get even one. As it turned out, I was the only bidder, so I got all three. So the first one you see doesn't show, other than the primary character, a giant pig. Okay. So this is number, by the way, at 23214. The other two are 23215 and 23218. So it means there are two missing in the series. Somehow he must have done it two more. But these are typical Inglis numbers. The 2300 series was what Inglis was taking pictures during the winter of 1869, I think. Okay. So I have a whole bunch. Most of the images in that series are simply masses of snow in the streets of Montreal. And there's about 150, 60, 70, 100. I don't have them all, but I have a catalog that I've been keeping over the years. And when I finally publish the book, it'll be all there. But these are three I wanted to show. So to show the other ones, I'm going to stop share. And I'm going to share again and see if I can get this second. Okay, share. See that? Okay, I don't hear you.
No. What you gotta do is you gotta open up the image first and then share the image.
Okay, the image is open now, and now
Yes, but you're sharing your folder window. You're not sharing the image window.
Okay, that's a good question. How do I
stop share and then
stop
share again?
Share and
share again, and then
share
one of the thumbnails will be the image itself that you wanna.
Okay, you see it? So
There
this
it
is the second image. 232. Actually, this is the third one, unfortunately, because this is the best of the lot. And to me, no, maybe it's not the best of the lot. Maybe it's just the second one. So it's like, in terms of these three, it was a happening that was going on at some point in probably 1869 or 1868. I forget exactly. What's amazing about these images, aside from the fact that you have kind of a happening in the street, is that if you look up here, right at the top, you'll see this better in the third one. This is actually the sign of the English studio. So this was at 101 St. James Street. So this was actually taken just outside of the English studio. And, everybody's around having, it has a sense of immediacy to it, that this is an event that happened that everybody was watching. Okay, let me try to get the third one up. Yep. I think this is the best one. You don't see it yet. Let me, where am I? Now I've lost again. So share, oops, share. Okay, is that okay?
Yes, you got it.
Okay, so this is the third one. This is like the best in terms of just the construction. At the upper left, you see 101 St. James Street. That's the English sign. You can see English. So this is an amazing one that shows the photographer's studio while he was at 101 St. James Street. And I haven't been able to see anybody who looks like Inglis in the crowd. It's just a bunch of hooligans who are out in the street and sharing whatever this is. I'm sure these pigs were not long for the world. But so these are the three English pig photographs. And I mean, they're unique in the sense that it gives a sense of place. a real sense of a happening going out in the streets. The locals are out there looking at the pigs. But what's amazing is, again, let me point out 101 Inglis, 101 St. James Street. So that's it. And what amazed me was I was the sole bidder on the three. So I ended up getting all three of them for about 20 bucks a piece, which I thought I was saving up like 100 bucks to get one. And it turned out nobody else was interested. So I think these are among the gems of the English stereos. Okay,
Fantastic.
that's
Thank you
my
very much.
talk.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. I'll turn off
Stop share.
my
Yeah. Turn off your share.
stop share.
All right. Big round of applause.
Thank you. I'll
Great.
turn
All
off
right.
my audio.
Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to invite Jerry Denlico now to the stage. Drum roll. Okay. If you could unmute.
There we go. Okay. All right. So I have I've been working with a little collection of novelty and, well, basically they call them toy cameras. I like the term novelty cameras better. And so I'm going to show you four of them very quickly. I don't have any images to show you yet. I just got back. I was on the East Coast for a couple of months, and I just got back a week ago. So nothing is processed yet. So hopefully, you know, come December when we do our second round of this, we'll have a take two. So this is the first camera that I'm going to show you. This is a Holga pinhole camera. Okay. It uses 120 film. As you can see, there's a lens cap on it. Now there is no lens, of course, because it's a pinhole. It has an f135. That's the f-stop of this pinhole here. Now I'll show you the inside of it. So this is the back of it. So you load this up here, and we have two modes that we can work with. So you can do a 6x9. We have this insert that goes in. I can do this correctly. I'm going to mess this up because I'm presenting. But anyway, so there is there we are. See, I did something stupid there. Okay, so what we're looking at here, this is the 6x9 insert. So it's 6x9 centimeters. Or, and I haven't tried this format yet, we can do a 6x12. Okay, so you do one or the other. This is your shutter release over here. So this will open the pinhole. Obviously, you need to use a cable release when you're doing this. What I found typically is that I work with like really low speed film, like Rollei 25 or you know, Ilford Pan F, one of those types. And then again, I'll put a neutral density or maybe a 25A filter or something in the front, so that so I'm knocking it down even more by another, you know, maybe 3 stops. So my exposures typically are running in the 12 to 20 seconds. So obviously you're on a tripod with this, and you know, you just kind of, you know, you push your use your cable release, you open your pinhole here, and you watch your clock here. There's your timer, and there you go. And then you just wind your film ahead and you go on. Now, what you have to do, because these are wider than normal, you're using 120 film, so you've got to go through at least 2 cycles. So I'm shooting on like frame 1 and then frame 3 and frame 5 and so on and so forth. There is no viewfinder. Well, this is your viewfinder here. You can see your viewfinder is this thing over here. So there is no viewfinder. So you're in guess mode, but hey, what the heck? It's all fun and games, right? So hopefully in December, I will have some results to show. All right, so the next one I've got here, this is a lomography camera. This is a super sampler. Now I can't open this one up because it's still got film inside it. And this again, as you can see, does not have a viewfinder. And what it does, if you can see, there's 4 little indicators up here at the top. I'll bring that a little bit closer. So it does 4 slits of pictures on one frame. you know, and you kind of go, well, okay. But where it gets interesting is that there's a little button on the back that you can push, and you can vary the timing on these 4 little slits of pictures. So basically, you can go up to 2 seconds. So basically, what you're doing is you're panning like across like this over 2 seconds. So you can, you know, so you can do some interesting things, you know, if you're down on the ground, you know, people's feet, you know, and cars that are parked and stuff like that. So there is a film in it right now. I can't open it up and show you, obviously. So again, hopefully I'll have some good results from that. And again, no viewfinder. Okay, so now we're going to progress. There we go. Okay, so now we're moving into the realm of viewfinders here, folks. So this is also a Lomo camera, and this is a Sprocket Rocket. And Sprocket Rocket is a wide camera, so it's a wide format. I'm not sure how wide it is yet, but what it does is it exposes right up into the sprockets. Now, for some weird reason, Lomography included a little insert here that you can put in like this. Let's see if I can gonna do this on the camera here. So it goes in like this. That will obliterate the sprockets. Now, I don't know why you would want to do that, but I guess they must have had some sort of request to do it, so they do it. There is a little, there's also a hot shoe on top. Well, I don't know if it's hot, but there is a shoe on top so that you can do flash. There's 2 exposure modes here. There's sunny days and cloudy days. And there are 2 ranges for the lens here. So you can do like a close-up, which is 0.5 to 1 millimeter, and then 1 and then 1 millimeter to infinity. Okay. I shot 1 roll of film with it. It was a really short roll, one of those 12 exposure rolls earlier. And what I found is you need to use high-speed film with this thing. So I don't know if it's got like an f/22 or whatever. I don't know what the f-stop is on it. But anyway, that was not very successful. So I shot a few more rolls this summer using higher speed film. So we'll see what kind of a difference that makes. Okay, last one here, and I have shown this camera before, except that what I found was that the camera needed some work. So I had it, you know, I took it in to have kind of like a clean and lube job done on it. This is obviously much more sophisticated than the other cameras that we've looked at. So this is a Horizont, or Horizont. Clint is probably better on the pronunciation with this than I am. Horizont. Okay. Okay, I've got a thumbs up on that. It's made in the USSR. Okay. I think it's made by the same people that make the Zenit cameras. And they made them, I think, from 1967 to 1974. This particular model was made for the US market. So it does have like Latin letters, as you can see, Latin script instead of Cyrillic. And it was made in 1969, as far as I can tell from the serial number. It's an interesting camera. It's got a fair bit of functionality. It's got an f-stop range of 2.8 to 16. And it's got shutter speeds. Let me see. I usually use the 125, but you can take it down to as low as 130. So 130 to 125. Typically, I'm shooting it at 125 at f/16. Okay, so this is your viewfinder here. So this comes off. So you can load your film. Now, this is the worst part of this camera, actually, is loading the film. Okay. Let's see if I can get this open. It is a little bit awkward to do, is one of the things that I found. because there's a little, as you can see, there's a little diagram over here showing how this is supposed to work. But you've got to make sure that the film is really taut or it doesn't load properly. So loading, I don't, loading is something, but before I go out, I load it. I don't try to load it anywhere else because it can take a few minutes sometimes. And the same thing happens when you're rewinding the film. That's a little bit of a problem. This pops up and then you can turn it around. There's there you go. Here's your little break down here at the bottom, but you have to hold on to that while you're rewinding, because if you don't, you get boom, and it's a real mess to kind of get it back together again. Overall, it's a fun camera to use. It's 35 millimeter film, and it tends to take, it's like a 70 millimeter image, and it's just a lot of fun to use this camera. So again, I did quite a bit of work with it over the summer, so I'm hoping to have some results to show you in September. So there we go. I'll be happy to answer any questions if I can afterwards.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Thank you very
All right.
much, Sherry. Big round of applause. Now I'd like to invite to the floor Cindy Motzenbecker, all the way from Royal Oak, Detroit.
Yeah. Okay, audio's on. All right, cool. Well, I don't usually collect cameras. And but I saw this little box. See if I can let's see if it shows up. Yeah, okay. Well, the graphics on the box and the box itself was really cool. So, and it wasn't beat up, so it was like I need this, but I had to have it. And it's got the little red inside. It was just too cool. It's an autographic. And I see Celio's name. Am I doing something wrong? View.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good.
Okay, because all I see is Celio. But while we were talking, I thought I better make sure everything works. But it's got the little stand, and it's got the back opens up, and you get to write inside. And very seldom do you ever see the photos. Once in a while you see them. And here's the little stylus. See if I can get that in focus. See if I can complicate this. So it's not flat, but that's why I started collecting photos. So it looks like everything's in place. So sorry it was so short and sweet, but now I have another camera. And then with our big camera auction coming up, there's a couple of autographics that I might have to chase after too. So good. So sorry about the short talk, but
Oh, that's all right. Well, thank you. Thank you for
Okay.
sure. I love that stylus. They're so hard to find with the cameras.
yeah, usually the cameras don't have them. Oh, I gotta
Yeah.
yell at the cat here. She's tearing up the furniture. Okay.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Mods. And
Okay, you're welcome.
I'd like to invite Mr. Lindsay.
Yeah, I was the last presentation just reminded me of something. I gave a few years ago a magic lantern show plus a little demonstration, a little display of photographic equipment, and I was answering people's questions. And a young woman came along with a developer's folder of vest pocket Kodak negatives where the autographic feature had been used. And so I was able to tell her exactly what camera was used, an autographic vest pocket Kodak, and I could tell her who one of the people was in the photograph. It's a fellow in town now. Now gone, who ran a recording studio. It was a picture of High Bloom with his record lathe, I urged her to go and visit High and talk to him about it. But I don't think she ever did. But anyway, what I was mentioned at the beginning that I obtained an Expo watch camera in 1974, which I managed to use. I made a little bracket and wooden film reel to take a little hand cut roll of film in it, and I successfully took a few photographs, which was fun. And now I've always been a sort of aware of these and aware of the British the British Tikka camera, which is made to the same patent. And I'm not really uh, much of a camera collector anymore, but I did treat myself to something very special. I got the sterling silver Tikka. And like Houghton's made these, and they gave one to Queen Alexandra, and she was reportedly pleased with it. But then it had her coronet and monogram engraved on it. That she subsequently gave it to her wardrobe man, and it was sold for a really serious amount of money at a Christie's auction in 1991. But the information I found on these things said presume they were made in one lot, because all the ones that are known are hallmarked for 1906. This one is hallmarked for 1907. So maybe there was a bit of overlap, but but I said I decided to treat myself. But it's getting me into thinking got me into thinking that maybe I should start taking photographs with one of these again. And then I discovered that there's a Portuguese fella who was designing and 3D printing different obsolete film cartridges, and he was producing one for the Expo and the Tikka. And he made them for 16 millimeter film, but I got in touch with him and gave him dimensions from an original cartridge, which I had. And and then this is the second version, which is for the original format, which is 17.5 millimeters. And he also made up film splitters to cut 17.5 out of 35. And so I still haven't got organized to try and use this thing. But there's a perfectly good film cartridge. Also, one thing that Expo didn't, the Expo Camera Company didn't make, which Houghton did, was a little bitty time shutter. Because with the Tikka, you had to the shutter wasn't self-capping, so you had to move it all the way in order to, and then you capped it with your with either the lens cap that's on it, or your finger, or if you're doing time exposures, you moved it. Yeah. You moved it halfway, and then just held your finger on it for long enough, and then held your finger off it, and then put your finger back again. But they also made a second. and they advertise that that if you do it slowly, you can give sort of more exposure to the foreground if you're taking skies. So I think it'd be fun to try and use it again. And then I ended up getting another Tikka item because they produced the Sterling Tikka. They also produced the watch face Tikka that had a porcelain watch face on one side with hands that showed the angle of view, so a thing looked more deceptively like a pocket watch. And there was also one that they called their focal plane Tikka, which had an external mechanism and a focal plane shutter, and this one's like very scarce, and it also has a focusing and a stigmat lens. But then it's beaten up and it's not complete. But I ended up getting this one, which is a regular Tikka, not the focal plane Tikka, but it has the focusing and a stigmat lens. So this is something that I've never heard of before. So anyway, I've sort of been inspired lately by watch cameras. Go in. So that's it.
Thank you very much, Lindsay. Those are very, very cool cameras.
Yeah, it's a really neat thing.
Yeah, I've been looking for a Tikka wristwatch camera for a long time, and I found one. I was really excited about it, and something else came up, and I couldn't take it. Great, thank you so much. I would like to invite now Mr. Jeff Ward to come on stage and share with us.
Thanks, Celia. I don't have a camera to show. I got a couple of books that I produced. I don't know if everyone knows, but what I've been doing here in Atlantic Canada is doing research on the early photographers here up until 1939. And as part of that work, I've been collecting photographs, exemplars of different photographers. And I started when I was, at an antique store or something, looking through pictures. I'm looking for the name of the photographer and not the actual subject. But after a while, I started looking at these pictures and found some really striking ones. And I decided, well, in my mind, I have the idea of an art exhibit where you'd actually show some enlargements of these photographs alongside the original. Maybe it's a carte de visite or something like that. But in the meantime, I put together a book, which I'm going to put it right in front of me so you can see it. It's kind of hiding, but it's called Striking Poses. And in fact, I've got three volumes of them. Here's two others. This one's called Friends and Relations, and this one's called the Fashion Edition. And some of them, when I visited Toronto in 2017, Robert Lansdale gave me his collection of Atlantic Canada photographs, about 60 or 70 of those pictures, and some of them are included in this. So I guess I'll show. It's not going to work very well because I've got it on the background. But what I have on one page is a slightly reduced picture showing all the mat around it, and on the opposite side of the page an enlargement. That's the way it works, and a little discussion of it there. I had the benefit of working with a former researcher with the Nova Scotia Museum who does work on costume, and she was able to give me some really helpful advice. But the other point I would like to make, if you're interested in what I'm doing here, I have a Facebook page called the Early Light Project, where I talk about some of my research and some of my findings. I do a weekly post on different subjects. This week, Friday, I'm going to be talking about a small town in Nova Scotia and some of the photography activity there. But I have an even bigger project. This is a galley. It's in the same format as the book you just saw, but on that Facebook page a couple of years ago, every week I would do a posting of the history of photography for a given year, and I did it for the first 100 years, and I turned that into a book. That's a galley. I hope to have it published soon, or to publish it. It's self-publishing it, but I would urge you to take a look at what I'm doing over there, and give the page a like, and share your thoughts about some of the stuff I'm presenting. Some of it's of interest to the rest of Canada. Some of our photographers here went west. Some photographers came east. Every once in a while I talk about those as well. So that's my show and tell.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Oh, cool. So, when are you publishing your next book?
Well, I actually hope to have the three I showed you are out now. I do hope to get this one out before this year is out. It's actually someone you all know, Edith Courier did the final read through on it and gave me some excellent advice. She's in Newfoundland these days, and so it's pretty well ready to go. I just have to sort of pull the trigger. It's going to cost some money,
Right.
and so forth.
Well, thank you very much, Jeff, for sharing with us.
Okay.
And I'd like to invite now Mr. John Bertram.
There we go. Do we have audio?
Yes, you do have audio.
Okay. So as I was explaining pre-meeting, but maybe a few people didn't catch. So I'm just back a few days from a Battle of Britain history tour in England, and an escorted tour, and then I stuck around for a few extra days, including 2 over on the continent. I wanted to go to Dunkirk, and got that didn't happen for a whole bunch of sad, boring reasons. But my final day, because I'd already arranged to fly home from Charles de Gaulle Airport, so I'd been wanting to see the Air and Space Museum there, which apparently is considered one of the certainly one of the biggest and most extensive. But it's pretty amazing. Any aspect of aviation, from Icarus and ballooning to the space race, you can find not just a few exhibits, you can find an entire pavilion or hangar devoted to that. So in the here, I'll just start this share here and go to Finder and share. Are you seeing the giant sign?
Oh, yes. Wow.
Okay. So that's that's yours truly. And this is at I'm going to get this wrong, the Bourget airport, or I guess former airport, but this was the huge building. And this enormous building is just one part. There's a whole bunch of hangars behind it. I'll just, I just dumped these from my phone onto the folder here. And if you're into big stuff, they've got one hangar with not one but two Concords. This, I think, was the very first prototype, and this was the very last one to be manufactured. They got an A380 kicking around and a whole bunch of other things out in the air park. But back here, this is the main building that we just saw the outside of, and it's largely early aviation. And on the one half, it talks about, ballooning and all those early efforts, and then on the second half, it gets inevitably into the First World War and reconnaissance photography, and how, like anything, it took a while to figure out how to do that. And so this is as it says here, a photo montage reconstructing a particular day, 13 September 1915. We even, I'm surprised they even have the name of the likely photographer. But so in this display case, you can see how they've pieced together the lines of the trenches from these separate images. So literally cut and paste. And it's kind of mind-boggling how the armies were arranged this way. And this is, I don't know how many separate images, but it took several exposures to get the entire line. And then right next to that, they have some of the cameras that were being used. And of course, my French is high school at best, but you can get the gist. Some of the information cards were only in French. Some of the larger ones were French and English. And then I tried to get a couple of shots of each thing here, the different viewers, and then this card. Now it was killing me that I couldn't actually view the card itself, but if I get industrious, I'm thinking there might be enough detail in this picture that I could sharpen it, flatten it out, flatten the perspective, print it, and then stick it in the little stereopticon viewer that I inherited from a grandparent, because I'd love to see how, what the degree of stereoscopy is in terms of showing these trenches. I wonder, did they exaggerate the distance between the lenses to get a better sense? I don't know, but I'm going to try to find out. And then they also note that it wasn't just planes taking these pictures. You had balloons and even kites, each of which had certain advantages over the other. And they point out that if you're in a plane and you're zipping along, yeah, you can go to any place you like, but communication with the ground was a challenge. Whereas aeronauts in balloons or connected to I think that's supposed to be kite train, easier to get some information communicated. There's a kind of a fun picture of an observer described as being in a tethered balloon basket. And there's 1915. get in there. So nothing too glamorous, but they were being used. And there's the famous pilot Blériot, but in 1914, in a two-seater reconnaissance airplane. And oh, here's one of the many. They have really amazing diorama models. Normally, I'm not too impressed with this kind of thing, but these were very, very detailed. And in this case, showing one of these, I think they're referred to them as kite trains. And some informative little information cards. And then very quickly getting into, shall we say, other types of shooting involving not so much cameras as bombs, the early bombers, and they had samples of everything you could imagine. And of course, the focus becomes more and more on just killing as many people as you can. And showing how the airplane could help increase the distance that you could fire. So in other words, just getting more efficient at killing people. And then the very last picture here, which I thought might be of interest, nothing to do with World War I reconnaissance, but definitely to do with space. This was 3 weeks ago at our cottage north of Kingston. And to me, what's remarkable about this picture is I didn't really do anything. It's just my silly iPhone. It's an iPhone 16 lying on the deck or the concrete dock, so that there's no possibility of my moving it, in night mode at the maximum default exposure, which is 10 seconds. Other than that, there's no cropping. That's what it saw. I did a tiny bit of contrast enhancement, but as I say, uncropped, that's what it got. And if you look really, really close, there is a little shooting star right there. And it's just sort of amazing and frightening what these cameras in our pocket are capable of now. I still can't quite wrap my brain around it, but anyway, there's a little air and a little space, and I will stop sharing.
All right. Well, thank you very, very much, John. Those were fantastic pictures. It made me think when I saw those those early uses of the airplane. It made me think about the early uses right in the last few years of drones, right, and how far that technology has come along.
True.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of like seeing that parallel.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Great. Well, thank you. I would like to now invite Clint to come on stage and share with us. He's got a couple of goodies there for us to enjoy.
Thank you so much, Celio. And thank you for all the presenters who have preceded me. It's there we go. So I was called by a friend, and she'd found this cased image in a house, right? And she was all excited, and the way she put it to me, oh my goodness, it's a daguerreotype. It's of an indigenous warrior standing in front of his teepee. Of course, it's be still my wildly beating heart. And then she says, "Oh, I'll bring it in a week or two to this event." And by the time I talked to her a second time, it had apparently been downgraded from a daguerreotype to an ambrotype, which is still fine. So I met up with her and she had it, and of course she was more than happy to have a learning experience on this thing and see what we can do and maybe what is it. So before I owned it, I very kindly asked if I could take it apart very carefully, very gently, and using a few tricks of the trade and a pig-shaped suction cup, I was able to remove the thing from the case. So it's got the preserver and it's got some glass here, and it's kind of looking, well, not really reflective. So that was kind of my first clue. But I was still hoping for the best because there's some good weight to it. It's got the weight of either a metal piece in here or a glass piece, right? Like a good weighted ambrotype. Anyway, so I very gently took it apart, and if you're good at, practice makes perfect. Practice on really crappy ones because you don't want to tear the preserver or anything like that. And eventually it does, it does separate into its little component sandwich, so to speak. So at the back, this nice gold sheet, which sometimes you'll see on the back of an Ambro. Too clean to be the back of a daguerreotype, but nonetheless, that's it. And it turns out to be some sort of a piece of metal, and it's been painted gold. As you can probably tell, this is going downhill quickly. And then another part of the sandwich is just a thin white sheet of paper, which sadly brings us to the final. Well, the other two bits, of course, are the glass and the preserver. And the middle of the sandwich is this thing. It's just some sort of a plastic negative. Somebody, I think, took a picture, of something out of a book with a medium format camera. This is the negative. And sadly, this is all it is. So every now and then, the blind bird doesn't get the worm. But I decided to acquire it for, I think, the price of a lemonade. It was a hot day, and to sort of show future generations of what's going on out there. Anyway, so that's kind of an ant story. This one is kind of a funny story, completely different. Another event, I acquired a cabinet card, and interesting only because it said, didn't say much on it. It's of a little kid, and there's nothing on the back to identify the location of the makers. And the makers are Tolman and Macmillan photo. That's all it says, Tolman and Macmillan. So I thought, well, use my Universal Encyclopedia Britannica. So I spoke to it. Whoops. And I'll tell you what it said. It said to me, I said, Tolman and Macmillan photographers. And it came back with the AI overview. And I'll read it to you because I read it to Jerry earlier and she busted out laughing. So it says, regarding Tolman and Macmillan, there are no prominent historical or contemporary figures known by the exact name Tolman and Macmillan as a joint photographer entity. Okay. However, William Notman was a famous Canadian photographer whose work is detailed in archives, and other photographers with the surname Macmillan, such as Ian Macmillan, were notable, especially for their work in art and music interests. Blah, 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 blah. So I scroll down and it gives me the names of numerous photographers, modern photographers named Macmillan. And then it says, it's got the little line through Tolman and it says, show results with Tolman. Well, I want to see results with Tolman. So I clicked on that and there's an AI overview again. And it says, there are no prominent photography studios or photographers named Tolman and Macmillan listed among the top or well-known photographers in general searches, but this could be a misunderstanding or a reference to a less famous duo. It's possible you're thinking of another similar sounding photographer or studio, or you may have some specific information or work about there that could help. Okay, fine. So it's my fault, right? Thank you, AI. It's my fault. Well, you scroll down and you start seeing really interesting things like photographers of Northwestern California. Good start. Tolman, McMillan, they both show up. And then you get a little bit more refined, and we get into photographers at Yale University, the guide to the Peter Palmquist collection of Humboldt County photographers. Tolman and McMillan, 1890s. And you fine tune it a bit more, and you get to Ferndale, which is in Humboldt County. So you find out that in October 11th, 1895, they were in partnership. We have the first name initials, of Tolman. We have the first initials of McMillan. We find out they were in partnership with others, and so on and so forth. So my little bit of advice from tonight is you find something like this, Tolman and McMillan, go, where are they from? Don't necessarily go with what AI tells you, because I'm pretty sure as I looked at it before I got it for $1 that it wasn't an on. Right? Because it doesn't say so. So a little bit of a deeper search, kind of ignore the AI, and you'll strike gold, which kind of is appropriate because I think they did eventually find gold in Humboldt County. So there you go. AI helps a little bit, but sometimes sends you down the entirely wrong rabbit hole, or says, no, they don't exist. So that's it. One kind of disappointment, one success. That's it. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very, very much, Clint. And thank you to all of our presenters tonight. Now, is there anyone else who'd like to come on stage and show a little something to the rest of us? Is there anyone else who's got something special that they'd like to share with the rest of us?
Aww.
No, I already wrapped up. Okay, so it is now time for the Q&A. So I hope you've been keeping track of your questions, keeping notes. And I'd like to, now I'm going to turn off the focus mode. And now everybody should be able to see everybody on the gallery, on the floor, right? Just give it a couple of seconds for it to cook in. Turn on your cameras if you'd like. And the floor is open.
I had a question for Mark. Your camera, what film size does it take? Do you know? Mark.
Good.
There
Yeah.
we go.
Yeah, it's 16 mil film.
Oh, I thought it was 8. Oh, that's pretty big.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay.
And like they were saying that they use a cassette, but they were smaller than the ones for the other cameras of the era.
What a pain.
Yeah.
What a pain.
And the viewfinder is very hard to use, especially with glasses.
Yeah.
All right, everyone's got his hands up.
Yep, I got a question for for Lindsay. I'm just wondering, is there any evidence that Queen Alexandra actually used that camera?
Well, the Houghtons put up a sort of a little manual or promotional booklet for the Tikka, and where they state that she was pleased with it, and there's one photograph in there that she took. But I've been in correspondence with there's a lady who wrote a book on Queen Alexandra and photography. And I was hoping there'd be like an album of photographs in the royal collection, but no. I think she politely might have said she liked it, but then really didn't use it. Like she was using 4x5 roll film.
Oh,
Okay. Okay. Is it still in the Royal Collection? Can you find that out?
Yeah, there's a no the camera.
Is the camera still in the Royal
Oh no,
Collection?
no, that she gave it to her wardrobe man, and then it was passed down through his family, and ultimately sold in December 1991 at a Christie's subminiature camera auction.
Ah, okay. Thanks.
which reminds me that the royal family can't keep track of certain things. Like they still don't know where the maple box is. There's two versions. There's two. One's in Montreal at the McCord. It's beautiful. Stay tuned. There's going to be an article about it. And the other one was given to Queen Victoria. And poof, nobody knows where it is. A collection of Notman stereo views presented to
Oh,
them. Yeah.
I was
There's another similar story. Basically, James Inglis made a big composite of the skating rink. And in one of my articles, it says that he presented it to the royal family. And I wrote to the royal collection, and they have absolutely no record of having it. So was it not sent or was it just lost? Who knows? I mean, but they don't have it.
You should ask the great grandson of the royal family's gardener, maybe. You know.
I contacted the Windsor one time. I was trying to find out about a Nova Scotia photographer who claimed to be by appointment to Edward VIII, and they said they didn't have any record, and in fact, they don't have much material about Edward VIII. Apparently, he didn't keep it, or they don't. Yeah, he's not well represented. Or maybe who knows why? Maybe he took it all with him. I don't know.
Who was the photographer, Jeff?
Climo.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, his name is Harold. Yeah,
Huge,
Harold.
huge body of work. Huge.
Yeah, there's the St. John Climos, and then there's the Halifax Climo. This is the Halifax one.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jeff, what was your Facebook group?
The Early Light Project.
Okay, all good. Thanks. I'll look it up right now.
Okay.
Thanks.
Great.
Jeff, are you the one who discovered that my moose picture was by Notman?
Yeah.
So thank you very much for that.
Well, thanks for bringing it to light. That was wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually from there was an article in this magazine. Actually, it's the longest magazine in history called The Field in England, and I wrote to them, and they couldn't find the original. Even though I had the precise kind of coordinates, they couldn't find the actual article in the field of that time, or they just weren't interested in looking. But it doesn't matter because the article was on the back of the photograph, so that's good. But that it was Notman was beyond my wildest dream.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Erwin, you pointed out that there's the numbers on the back of the stereo views.
In the front.
Sorry, in the front. Sorry, 2, 3, etc. Like whatever. How do those work with, from what you've been able to discover? How do those work with his numbering system with CDVs? Is it just chronological? Like today,
I think he had one number system near. I should really investigate this a little more closely, but I think the dates correspond to other 22,000 series in CDVs, although I don't have very many of those. So I think he just had one numbering system.
Right.
So because the stereos start at 22,000, which is where 22,000 and something. So it means he was just using the same numbering system as was already there.
And in the normal numbering system, one assumes he started at what, 1?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it started at about 1,000. This is my guess. I've never seen anything.
What's the lowest you've ever seen?
That's a good question. I know the photograph I'm thinking of. I don't know if it had because his very first studio, he had no numbers at all.
Right,
So
right.
when he moved into his next studio, that's when it started. I think my guess is it's around 1,000 that he started.
Mhm.
And the stereos are all, not all, most of them are the winter and spring of 1869, and they run to the 22,000 and 23,000 numbers, but it's not every single number.
Yeah, right.
So I guess he was doing, in between other things as well. And
Mhm, mhm.
also, I say that these three pick photos, there's, what was it? I said 23, 2, 14, 15, and 18. It doesn't really mean that there was anything in between. It
Correct.
means, that was when they were developing the images. Somebody was writing these numbers, so it could be that there was nothing in between, or they did something else in
They broke
between.
the
Yeah,
negative,
yeah.
right? They smashed the neg.
Maybe they broke the negatives. Maybe they had other prints, other negatives to develop as well.
Mhm.
So I'm not really sure about that, but definitely the numbers of the 23,214 are the end of the winter ones, going into the spring ones. The spring were all flood pictures. And he stopped on the winter ones. He basically gives the dates. It was like a 1 week or 2 week period, and they're written on the back. It's between March and something. But then for the flood ones, they aren't individually dated.
Ah,
The numbers are there, but there's no information on the back about when they were taken, etc. So I know Inglis was not primarily a landscapist,
mhm.
so this was a series. He also did some photographs of private businesses, and I've
Mhm.
got a couple of those, and I found a couple of those online. But other than that, he was mainly a portraitist. That was his primary interest, and that was his book. In 1897, he wrote a book called, I've just slipped my mind, Artistic Lighting. Artistic Lighting. And that book, actually, although it was first published in 1897, kept on being republished, and it was republished by one of the big, as part of another book on how to photography in 1930 something. So it was a very, very popular book at the time. So I have a few of the early editions. You can still find them on A-books and places like that. And but these stereos are, as I said, you can kind of say they were at the end of the winter. They were towards the end, just before he started with the flood pictures.
Not,
But
not when,
I've never seen anything quite that, in terms of the pig photos. you
well, and
know,
it's right in front of his studio. What gives?
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
What are these pigs doing
Basically,
in
it's
front of
right.
his studio?
That's I don't know if he had anything to do with that, or they were just some pig farmer came in and dropped them off, and or maybe he bought them. I don't know, but they're right in front of the studio.
Barter, yeah. That sign shows up in other photos
Yeah,
that he's
yeah.
done, right?
It follows up in a number of stereos of his studio.
Yeah.
So it's a well-known sign, so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah. Nauman had sort of a similar problem with numbering. He did a whole bunch, and then I guess somebody said to him, "Well, how are we going to keep track? How do we know that this is a glass negative of Mr. Smith?" And so he decided after he'd done a whole bunch, well into maybe the early 1860s, that he should be numbering them. So he went back and,
Oh,
and sort of started numbering them, and it's quite a headache,
Yeah.
and they're a little shifted off for a period that like we really don't know whether it was
hmm.
a year and a half, 2 years, or maybe as long as even 4 years.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, a bit of a mess, but at least eventually, he started loaning anything in the with 3 digits. That's pretty good, pretty early. Yeah, yeah.
John, I wanted to mention, I don't know if you're aware, but the first really successful aerial photograph made happened in Halifax way back in 1883, and it was a
Oh,
balloon aerial. I don't know how well that is known, but there was a researcher here who was in, I think, photogrammetry was his thing. Did this research. There was a guy from England. His name was Henry Elsdale. He was a captain in the Royal Engineers, and he and this other fellow from England had worked out how to make a very lightweight balloon. They figured, helium floats, and the all idea was like a helium balloon. But then they invented a clockwork mechanism. They used trigonometry, I guess, basically uh, to figure out how quickly the balloon would rise when they filled it to a certain amount,
yeah.
and then uh, and they would have a timer that would open the shutter on a camera at the moment that it felt it had got to its apogee. It's when it would be not in motion, and that would be when they would take the shot. So you got a shot that's straight down. It was made out of a pasteboard camera box to make it really light. But it was quite impressive technology that they actually developed it in England, but brought it to Halifax. Elsdale brought it to Halifax because he got transferred for a couple of years, and that's where he actually did two successful experiments over 2 years. Actually, Library and Archives Canada have the couple of the images in their collection.
Well, now you're making me curious now to wonder if it's known who was the first human to go up in a balloon and manually take a picture.
Yeah, there's a famous picture of Nadar in the balloon, isn't there?
Yeah.
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 It's a drawing or something like that. I think that was in Paris. Yeah. But that was earlier. So that was a different kind of balloon altogether. Yeah.
Right, right.
Hot air balloon, where this was helium, or not helium, but hydrogen. They actually had a machine that would make the hydrogen. The other interesting thing about it was how they made the fabric. It was using some material called gold beater's skin. It's the gut of an ox that was used between pieces of gold to hammer it flat, hammer it thin, and it had an interesting capability that when it was like very thin, when you would wet it, it would actually it would adhere to another piece of this skin, and you could piece it together to make a large a balloon of any size.
Yeah.
Just state of the art technology in 1883.
I think the CDV of that is a studio balloon. There's that famous picture of him in a balloon, but I think
Of
that's a
Nader.
studio thing.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it is an actual photograph, eh? He's in
Yeah.
a basket.
It's an actual photograph of
Uh,
a mock-up.
Okay.
I think. I don't know. I wouldn't be 100% sure.
I was imagining a caricature or whatever, yeah. But it was 83. It took the British it was a secret. No one in Halifax knew it had been achieved. It was taken back to England, and he was able to set up a school, but they really never did start using it for real in real warfare until the stuff that you saw in the First World War. So they kind of he was well ahead of his time, put it that way.
Yeah.
Well, I imagine he should have, or he would have been having to use something very fast, right? Dry plates, or film, or something that was really fast. Because I mean, like that would be moving up in there, up in the air. Yeah.
Yeah, it was moving, but it was moving straight up, and the point about it, the timer was so that when it stopped rising, somehow it was tethered as well, so they knew when it would get to the top, and then it would click. Yeah.
Oh, so this was like all machinery. It was an unmanned balloon.
Oh, unmanned, yeah, quite a small thing. Yeah, I think probably the camera box was probably about that, but it was pointed down, but again, it was made of cardboard to keep it really light.
Cool.
So I think it was glass plate. Yeah, I think that's what the Library and Archives have. I'm not Yeah, Library and Archives Canada. I think that's what they've got.
Hey, Jerry, that horizont that you have, did you get it at our auction? Jerry, Jerry, Jerry.
No, I bought it just at one of the sales.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. And question about the Holga. That is a Holga pinhole.
Yes.
So I played with the big 120 Holga, and it's kind of in your interest for it to be poorly made. In other words, to have light leaks, because that sort of adds to the drama of your photograph.
I
But
suspect it does have light leaks. Yeah.
yeah, okay. So consistent manufacturing will also probably give that Holga light leaks, right? Around the back, maybe. Or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay,
Right,
yeah.
right at the back and at the film back. I can
Yeah.
show you. It's a little bit.
Absolutely notorious camera for leaking light, but that became.
Now this I did get at one of the auctions.
Oh, I remember that. That came from
Yeah,
the
yeah,
store
it
we
was a couple
closed
of
out
years ago.
in Owen
Yeah.
Sound.
Yeah, the back in here. This is where you will tend to get the light leaks in there.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit very tightly. As a matter of fact, I was watching one video on YouTube where the photographer had stuck a little bit of extra, like some paper and whatnot in there, and he says, "Yeah, I'm not too comfortable with this." But I mean, that's part of the charm of these cameras.
Yeah.
Is that they're really crappy.
Right. That's right. Yeah. That came from the Owen Sound, the shop
Yeah.
up to liquidate. Yeah. Wow. Fun. What else we got? That's all the questions I have.
All right, everybody. Well, I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. This was a great get back together, especially for me. I haven't seen you guys in a long time. I'm now
good,
based in a
good.
different city, and this is pretty much the only chance I get to see you guys. And thank you so much for sharing and for coming out tonight.
Great job.
Please.
Great job tonight.
Any
Celio.
feedback? Okay. Any feedback about tonight? Any thoughts? Anything you'd like to communicate? Program at phsc.ca, and we'll move forward with our next event and try to incorporate your feedback as best we can. But for the time being, expect to receive another message with a direct link for the next event when we have it ready for you. Okay.
Well
Thanks
done, Celio.
Thanks
Thank you,
very much,
Celio.
Celio. It was
Well done. Well done, mate.
Thank you all.
Thanks for all your work on this. Whoops. Yeah, thanks for all your work on this, Cilio.
Oh, the problem. My pleasure. Thank you all, and to all the new faces tonight. It was fantastic meeting you, and I hope to see you again at our next event.
Okay.
Are you heading out now, Celio?
Yes, I am. So
Why
I'm
don't
going
you
to pass the reins over to you.
And we'll just keep yakking for a little bit.
Alrighty. So let me see if I can stop the live before I go.